Hi, everyone. I wanted to do a quick little video about pregame warmups for officials. Now, in fairness, this probably has more to do with me than it does anybody else, and me reminding myself of what I need to do. Okay. So remember, our goal is really to still have you on the field and be ready to go in May. That's where we should be peaking. Okay. So let's go ahead and take a look at what we have here. Okay. First of all, who this is for and why. All right. So this is for our mercenary officials. Okay. The guys that are out there grabbing every game they can, working 5 nights a week, and really need to take care of their bodies. All right. Also, our older officials, which is me. Okay. I'm 58 years old. Okay. So, again, one of those things that I have to pay attention to, and definitely a little bit more of a weekend warrior official now. Okay. I don't officiate college anymore. So I don't have the constant officiating that I'm doing. I'm out there coaching my grandson's soccer team and those kind of things. So different levels of activity throughout the week. Okay, generally getting on the field 2 to 3 times a week, as needed. All right. So again, when you're not out there as much and your activity is limited, then this might be for you. Although I do go to the gym almost every day, still this running and cardio work is not a part of my regular daily routine. Now, for those of you who are college officials out there, obviously you should be taking care of yourself, and I'm sure that you already have your own routine. I encourage you to work with it. Okay. For those of you that don't have a routine, this is what I do. This is are some suggestions that hopefully will help you get ready and minimize injuries. For the most part, I've had a pretty decent career from an injury standpoint. Many of you know that I had knee replacement surgery back in 2022 now, and it was extremely successful. All right. So I encourage all of you, Scott, you're one of them, not my brother Scott, but the other Scott, and to go ahead and get it done. I know it's a lot different technology today, but if you are putting things off, it really was a real miracle for me. All right. So each playoff season, it never fails. Once we start to get to the middle of the season, I start to take a look at, okay, who are our better officials? Who hasn't had a chance to do the big game, right? Those kind of things, and say, okay, who can I start to look at to promote towards the end of the season? And I'll strategically get out there and observe you, whether you know I'm there or not, just to see where you are. All right. And oftentimes what I see is that there's a nagging injury, and I can tell from watching you run up and down the field, or you actually contact me and you are taken off the field. Okay. So the goal really is to keep you and get you in top shape come playoff time. All right. So usually it's a result of not taking care of their bodies, and warm-ups can really help to mitigate this. All right. I truly believe in this, and it's made a big difference for me. I can tell you most recently, I wanted to get a test run in over at Fierce Nation, ran a couple games, and was stood around chatting, and then all of a sudden it was game time, and I didn't warm up, and I definitely could feel the difference. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and take a look here. First of all, some tips and tricks. All right. When and when not to work hard. Okay. We're out there for the most part doing double headers. Okay. JV games are really about survival, and it's your survival. Obviously, the survival of the players as well, but your survival. All right. Consider wide mechanics. Okay. That means you can stay a little bit deeper as trail and be ready to get to the other side of the field. Really save your legs for varsity, and even a wider mechanic allows you to see the entire field. Okay, so consider that. I would suggest that you're always jogging on some level. That way your body stays warmed up. Okay. Now, varsity games, hustle from spot to spot and rest. Okay, walking can be one of your biggest enemies in a varsity game. All right, so always be running or jogging, even if you're doing it slow, and this will keep your body warm. Okay, work hard as the lead. This is your primary position on the field, is as the lead official. Work hard, cover that end line, and make sure that you're officiating what you need to officiate. All right, work semi-hard as single. Okay, obviously you're still working very hard, but we know there's a little bit more of a rest element to the single side. Okay, so consider where you are. All right, we definitely want everybody at least to the middle of the box, if not down at 5 yards above goal line extended at a minimum. All right, depending on what you are capable of doing and how able you are to cover the field and get to the cone. All right. Now, as trail official, all right, rest after you are in position. Okay. That means that when you come up the field, you're staying just behind the ball. And you can come up, take a look at the field on the defensive wing line, at the end of the wing line, look around, check substitution real quick, then run down the wing line for 20 yards to the other end of the wing line and come into your settled position. But wherever you decide to go, stop and then run, stop and then run. Okay, it looks much better than walking. It looks much more deliberate as far as that goes, and also gives you an opportunity to catch your breath. Now, this is just my routine. Feel free to toss it out the window if you've got something else that works for you. Just this is something that has worked for me over the years and always seems to get me in the right spot. I will tell you that I never really feel warmed up until I get that first hard run in, which is obviously somewhere around the first quarter. Okay. Now, the first part to warming up is making sure you have time to warm up. Okay. So the pregame is important. So the coaches meeting, the captain's meeting, and the meeting with the face-off men, which should be done every game. Okay, make sure you get this done early and try to do it right after the JV game has ended. So this is important for the third official to be on the field and to be able to grab the JV officials, get together real quick and go find that home coach, that visiting coach, and then get those captains, get it done, get out of everybody's way. They will thank you that you got it done early. All right. We do know that we have some time constraints depending on where we're officiating. All right. But again, those things can also be mitigated by the fact that, hey, we need to warm up. All right. So we'll be right there. We're going to take a couple extra minutes, and that's okay. All right. Make sure you do leave time for your warm up. So if you are lucky enough to have 10 minutes in here, this is something that generally takes me about 10 minutes to do. I've timed it several times and kind of have this routine down. Those of you who have officiated with me know that after we get done over at the box, you'll see me run down the middle of the field, and then I'll usually make a left turn down the far sideline, and then I'll run all the way down the sideline, and then I'll start to backpedal halfway up to midfield, all right? And then I'll do a sprint or two, and then along the far sideline, I'll go into some version of high knees, butt kicks, and can openers, okay? Now, most of you may know what the high knees are. That's where you're bringing the knee up high in the front. The butt kicks are where you are literally kicking your butt, and the can opener is where your knee comes up and then it goes out to the side. Okay. All right, also the quad or the glute stretch. So this is the one knee version. So one knee down, one knee one knee down. You're kneeling, facing forward, and you're stretching forward. Okay, and you're really getting that stretch in. All right, remember, knees over toes, and then push out over that. All right, and do that both sides. You'll typically do that twice. And then finally, I'll finish up with my butt on the ground. Obviously, this could be a challenge when it's wet outside. All right, not getting this one in. All right, but a groin stretch. Okay, so that's the butterflies where the soles of your feet are together and you're pushing your thighs out, your legs out, and bringing your heels to your butt. Okay, now I don't even come close to that anymore. All right, I'm not sure I could ever do it. I never had good knee flexion, those kind of things, but still, just getting in there and getting you stretched out with whatever you can do really does make a difference. Okay. So that's what works for me. Generally takes me about 10 minutes. I can speed it up and go a little bit faster. All right. But without a doubt, getting those jogs in first are the key for me. Okay. If you are coming off of a JV game, you may not need to do that, but I do encourage you to get a little bit extra stretching in because your level of exertion is going to be a little bit greater than it would be. If you are the third official coming into a varsity game, and we know that in Prince William County and in Loudoun County, they like to speed the games up. And we always struggle with coaches asking for more warm-up time. And unfortunately, that is actually not something that we control. Okay, a lot of people think that it is 20 minutes in between games, and that is not set in stone. That really is up to the home team and how the administrators choose to manage that. All right, so that is not anything that is anywhere in the rule book. The rule book does not give any guidance on doubleheaders. All right. So again, we do have to deal with that. So if you are the third official coming on to a varsity game, remember the JV officials might have a little bit of an advantage because they've been out there moving already. So maybe you can get your warm-ups done before the game starts, all right, or before the JV games end. Okay, that could be a good way to deal with those short time issues. So, if time allows, now this really goes back to when I was officiating college, or sometimes you might have time on a varsity game, depending on if you're already warmed up. Do some single side runs. So that means go over and pretend that you are the single side official and officiate their warm ups. Okay, you're not blowing the whistle or you're not making any calls, but you're just getting into your position. All right, you're going to yo-yo in and out. Okay, then you on your first shot, the first shot that they take, go ahead and turn and get to the cone and practice your routine. All right, stop at the cone, pretend that a clear is coming, pretend that the ball has crossed midfield, and then start your 10 count and enter into the box and go back down to the other single settle position. If you do have extra time, you can also do lead runs. Get over on the lead side. Okay, yo-yo in and out, practice a little bit of end-line coverage, and then backing out to the corner of the field. All right, it should be wide offense is what that meant, not side offense. But when they go wide and you need to get out of the way, get a few back pedals in. All right, get your body to recognize that. All right. All right. So just again, some really basic stuff, and obviously the primary point of this video is just to encourage you to warm up, make time for it because we want you around later in the season. Okay. We go into this issue, or we get into this issue every year late in the season. Okay, with regards to officials and who do we put on these big playoff games, right? And well, we're putting the best available officials out there on the field. Now, you would think that normally in an association like ours, that would be our college officials, right? They should be the best officials in the association. That's the whole point, okay? But that's not something necessarily that we want to do. We want our non-college officials to have a chance at those games. But if you are an older qualified official who can do a great job making calls, your judgment is sound, and we can put you on the field, you have got to be able to back it up physically. If you cannot physically get up and down the field, if I see you walking up and down the field, I'm sorry, but it's going to be difficult to put you on any of those big games. Okay? So make sure that you really are balancing your time as far as warm-ups go and that you are in a position to really be peaking at the end of the season. We all have physical limitations as we get older. Okay? And those of you that are younger that are watching this, you'll learn the hard way. All right? But again, we can do a lot to mitigate it. Keeping your weight down is a big one. Okay. For those of you that know me and have been around for a long time, you remember that I used to be pushing about 230, 240 pounds about 15 years ago. And then I made that decision to get in shape and have been in that 180 range ever since. And it's been a real blessing for me from a health standpoint. Okay. So thanks for listening to this, and I hope it helps. And if you have any questions, this is kind of my wheelhouse. I deal with health and nutrition and all these kind of issues all the time. That was my career as a high school teacher. So happy to help you. Please feel free to reach out and we can discuss. Thanks and best of luck in your next game.